Story 1. Welcome to the What Society, where we answer all questions with what. Then we proceed to answer all their questions with what. Story 2. I had a caller ask to speak to the person who makes the decisions in the household. I put the phone on speaker and handed it to my 4-year-old daughter. She very politely said, "Hello. Hello? I am ready to talk now." I heard him say to someone in the background, "What is wrong with these people?" And he hung up. Seriously, if you do not want to talk to the boss, then do not ask to talk to the boss. Story 3. If you answer spam calls, they know your number belongs to a real person, and you will receive many more spam calls. Ignore all of them and enjoy the silence. Story 4. Lately, I just say random words, mostly to determine if I am talking to a person or some robot nonsense. Rutabaga, Tabasco, aviation, diet soda, shiwiz, backle. Story 5. I just use classic Jim Florentine bits. The key is to sound authentic if you really want to string them along and waste their time without having them hang up. My favorite is the part before or after that bit. Answer the phone and let them make their pitch. Act genuinely interested for a minute or two. Then at a certain point just say, "Sorry, what was that last part you just said? I think my phone was breaking up." They will repeat the last thing they said. Say, "No, the part before that." They will repeat something else. "No, the part after that." Keep that going until they get frustrated or confused. Then reassure them you are very interested and just want to make sure you have all the information. Let them continue. Repeat as needed. I have done this many times now that I get excited whenever I receive spam calls. I stop whatever I am doing and spend 20 minutes stringing some poor person along. Forget them. Story 6. My uncle could teach a masterclass on this. He had insurance scammers trying to insure his Tonka truck. When asked for his social security number, he would always give 9 random numbers and then say, "and 11. This always confused international scammers who did not know English well. He also trolled a flat earth group on Facebook by becoming a moderator and arguing, banning, and provoking people. He is a wild character. I love him. Story 7. An Indian coworker taught me how to say something in Hindi that basically means, "You are a sister fucker." I use that phrase now. Story 8. This is Agent Smith of the Fraud Division. Which crime are you calling to report? Story 9. From The Simpsons. Hello? You will have to speak up. I am wearing a towel. Story 10. I get spam calls for duct cleaning all the time. My kids make duck sounds in the background while I tell them my ducks are clean, but the geese are a mess. It gets them every time. Story 11. My son received a spam phone call. He patiently listened to what they said, then asked, "How do I get my penis out of the end of the vacuum cleaner? It is stuck." They hung up on him. Story 12. I know small phrases from many different languages. I switch between languages so they do not know what to do. Once I had a man who responded in each language I switched to, which was very impressive. I listened to his entire product promotion phone call. Story 13. Telemarketer. Hi. Would you be interested in switching over to T-Mobile long-distance service? Jerry. Oh, I can't talk right now. Why don't you give me your home number and I will call you later? Telemarketer. I'm sorry, we are not allowed to do that. Jerry. Oh, I guess you do not want people calling you at home. Telemarketer. No. Jerry, well, now you know how I feel. Story 14. I am so glad you called. I have been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Story 15. I either say hello too loud since I firmly believe these spam callers are wearing a headset, or I do a whole tongue twister of, "Thank you for calling Pat's Pumps. This is Pat. Have you had your pump today?" If they persist, I do everything I can to sell them a nonsensical pump I've made up specifications for on the spot but am quite proud of. It's usually the loud screeching, "Hello?" That's my go-to. Story 16. My favorite way is to say in perfect English, "I am so sorry, I do not speak any English." They try to talk, and I just repeat, "I am so sorry, I do not speak any English. I really hope you have a fantastic day. I just do not speak any English whatsoever." Story 17. Hey, you are on the air. What would you like to say to my millions of listeners? Story 18. You have reached KSCM 99.1, and you are the seventh caller. Are you excited? Are you excited? Story 19. House of Perverts. How may I assist you? This worked great because I no longer receive calls after asking if they were interested in adult toys when they called an adult video shop. Story 20. Do not. Even saying hello gives them the ability to record your voice for artificial intelligence replication. This is not far-fetched and it is not worth it. Story 21. I ask them if they can please hold for one moment. Then I mute my microphone, put my phone in my pocket, and continue with my day. I only answer because typically it is robots that go to voicemail, which take a lot of effort to clear. It is much easier to answer those calls and hang up. Story 22. My dad once received a spam call and waited until the caller finished talking. When she finally stopped and asked him a question, he responded with, "Sorry, I don't speak English," and she hung up. Story 23. I answer it with a fax machine. Story 24. I acted like I could not understand them. Me, I speak American. Them, I'm speaking American. Me, I speak American. Them, I'm speaking American. Me, I speak American. Them, I'm speaking American. Me, no, you are speaking English. I am speaking American. Them, leave me alone. And then they hung up on me. Story 25. My grown son would answer unknown callers with a variety of goofy things. He settled on XXX Auto Shop. You break it, we fix it. One day his dyslexia kicked in and that became XX Auto Shop. You fix it, we break it. The telemarketer got a good laugh out of that one. Story 26. I am glad you called back. We have been trying to reach you about your extended automobile warranty that is about to expire. If you act now, I can renew it for you. Story 27. I once sang, "Hey Big Spender," to one of those claim back payment protection insurance calls. They hung up before I reached the chorus. Rude. Also, when I went through a spell of getting those "have you been injured in a car crash" calls, I made up an elaborate story about driving my van to a competition where my prize-winning show ferret, Mr. Miffles, was competing. I said my ferret sprained his paw and only won the silver. I asked if I could provide video evidence and claim lost prize money. Amazingly, that didn't put them off. They asked if I was injured. Clearly, they don't care about a ferret. I then kicked things up a notch and said that I was naked while driving and Mr. Miffles bit me on the man parts while he flew through the air. Only then did they hang up. If they ever call back, I will say that I am a successful OnlyFans creator and my many subscribers were turned off by my anatomy being covered in sticking plasters. Story 28. Honestly, just hang up. Most of the people on the line are slaves or indentured servants. 1 in 10 may be making their own money, but many traveled from their home country on a promise of a great job and were lied to. Story 29. Turn the tables on them. Once, someone called me claiming I had won something. I asked for their name and told them, "What a coincidence. I was about to call you to say you won XXXX. Then he hung up. Story 30. Since Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer gained a voice feature, I have always been tempted to get my spouse's phone, turn Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer on, and have it have a conversation with them. Story 31. 15-second amnesia causes them to swear and hang up by the third repetition. Story 32. I like to press the accept call button and then just not speak. Sometimes I breathe heavily into the microphone. Story 33. I think this one from Tom Mabe is epic. Story 34. Just 2 hours ago, as soon as the scammer answered, I started with, "Hello, I have been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty," and just stuck to the script. They seemed oddly annoyed by that. Story 35. I used to answer calls saying, "I'm calling from Google, car warranty," and so on, using an Indian accent that sounded like an old man. Good times. I used to record them, but I switched phones and no longer have the recordings. Some people tried to get me to go into my control panel to do various things on my laptop. I fumbled around a bit, got distracted, accidentally deleted what he told me to type, kept him on the phone for about 15 minutes, and finally told him I couldn't do the accent anymore. He started using profanities like crazy, That one was fun, especially because I sounded just like him. Story 36. I am sorry. I cannot talk right now. I have a fresh batch on the stove. Story 37. Answer it normally. Mid-sentence, drop something that makes a loud noise. Mom, are you okay? What do you mean your chest is hurting? You look pale. It works best if the caller is not from a particular background. Just keep describing symptoms of a heart attack or stroke while they are on the phone until they beg you to call an ambulance. Story 38. Just start in the middle of a conversation. So anyway, I said, really? And she said, yeah, but also no, you know what I mean? Story 39. I like to systematically destroy their confidence by repeatedly asking why they chose the career they are in. Story 40. I downloaded a WAV file of the sound of a modem connecting and played it at full volume while holding my phone to the computer speaker. Story 41. I tell them to hang on just a second, then I put the phone down. Sometimes I lead them on like I am interested, then keep putting it down. I had one on the phone for almost 30 minutes. Story 42. Thankfully, my Google Pixel phone does not allow spam calls. Story 43. Hope you hid the body. I will meet you at the rendezvous we agreed on. Story 44. Trolling them in another language. I have found that if I use Spanish, they will call back. But if I use German, that normally gets them to stop. Story 45. I received a call from a house flipper trying to buy my house. I said I was not interested, but while I had them on the phone, I asked if they would be interested in buying an automotive warranty. Story 46. My mother received a scam call from a man who called her grandma and said he needed money. She played along but made up a story that he had told her he was sending money back from last time, and now she was late on her electric bill, so they were shutting it off this week. When is he sending the money? He quickly apologized and said he would have the money for her electric bill tomorrow before he hung up. Story 47. Do not ever answer yes to any question, especially the "can you hear me" one. Scammers can use the recorded yes to verify your agreement. Story 48. Department of Homeland Security. How may I direct your call? Story 49. I once received a call from a survey company about which fast food restaurants I use. The caller was a young woman. I didn't have much to do, so I answered the survey and chatted with her. Eventually, we talked about whether she should get an Xbox or a PlayStation and other random topics. Then I had to go somewhere, and she thanked me for being polite on the phone. Story 50. I used to answer and flip the television to some daytime sales programs. I've tried to sell so many Miracle Blades to them, or Ronco Rotisserie. Story 51. Thank you for calling America's Great Car Insurance. My name is Chad Wilkinson. May I please get your first and last name and the last 4 digits of your social security number? Sometimes I go along with it until personal information is requested, and then I ask about who their car insurance is with and how I can help them get a lower price. The number of times I have been hung up on is always amusing. Story 52. Hello, you have reached. Name, Crematorium and Bakery. How can we assist you today? Story 53. I get spam calls at work from call centers saying my bank details need verifying. I always speak to an agent and give a random police department name. They soon hang up. When I get bored with doing that, I scold them for being unscrupulous fraudsters. Funnily enough, they still hang up. Story 54. What is your favorite scary movie? Is this the Krusty Krab? I have been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Story 55. Whatever they are trying to sell me, I work for a competitor and can get them a better deal. Story 56. Ever since I watched The Lonely Island, when I answer a phone, I want to confuse someone. Domino's Pizza. Story 57. Hello, this is Mrs. Penny Apple. Story 58. There is a very funny recording of a man who pretended to be the investigating officer at a crime scene, Tom Mabe. Story 59. I do this all the time and it makes me laugh. Me. Hello? Them. Yes, hello, I'm calling. Me. Hello? Them. Hi. Can you? Me. Hello? This phone, I swear. Hello? Them. Hello? Me. Hello? I swear this phone. Hello? What the? Then click. I like to see how long I can keep them on the phone while pretending I can't hear them. Story 60. Hi and thank you for calling Randall's Takeout. You say a name, we find them and take them out. Cash up front. Story 61. When I was still fluent in it, I once had the entire conversation in French. The guy got so mad. Another example is from Seinfeld. Jerry said he was busy, but if he could get the caller's personal number, he would be sure to call back at a random time. Story 62. I always answered in foreign languages or said, Federal Bureau of Investigation Fraud Department. This is for speaking. Story 63. Do not answer. Sometimes they just need to know that the number is real. It will be funny for the moment, but it will not be once they start calling your phone repeatedly or looking you up through your number. Story 64. Sound really concerned, then randomly answer their questions with the longest phrase I can think of. Then insist on spelling it out for them. Oh, my extended insurance? Yes, I can't do without it. I have my credit card right here. What do I drive? It's a 2018 Range Rover Autobiography Dynamic. It's R for Randy, A for Apple, N for November, G. You'd be surprised how many let me finish just because I said I have my credit card. Story 65. Thank you for calling Big Hank's Abortion Clinic. We provide compassionate care and support. How may I direct your call? Story 66. Thank you for calling your town name, police department. Is there anything I can help you with? Story 67. Moshi Moshi. In Japanese, it is primarily used to answer personal phone calls. It signals that the speaker is attentive and ready to begin a conversation. To a spammer, it is like, what the heck? Click. Story 68. Hello? Thank you for calling your local sperm bank. You spank it, we bank it. How may I assist you? Yells over shoulder, hey, not in the waiting room. We will get you a private room for that. Back to phone, hello? Anyone there? Hello? Story 69. Burn Buddy's crematorium. You stab them, we grab them. Or when the bill collectors call and ask for me by name, I usually say, no, this is Timothy Leary. What is your take on lysergic acid diethylamide? Or something along those lines. Story 70. Easy, do not. If you do, they know they have a live number and the calls increase. Ignore them. Story 71. I apologize and tell them that I do not speak English. Then, no matter what they say, I repeat variations of, I am sorry, I do not understand what you are saying. I do not speak English. Until they hang up on me. I do the same thing with scammers and petitions on the street, but usually I say it just once while I keep walking past them. Story 72. Just say yes to everything. Could I get your credit card number? Yes. Great. Can you start with the first four numbers? Yes. So what are they? Yes. Story 73. Also, to irritate them, say anything except the word yes. They try to get a recording of you saying yes, so if anything happens, they can edit the phone call recording to make it look like you said yes and agreed to something. For this reason, spam telephone companies try to get recordings of people saying yes to sell to other spam telephone companies. They usually ask 50 questions just to get a yes out of you. For example, are you between the ages of 2 and 100? Or you do not have to make a commitment right now, but if you would like to hear our offer, just say yes. When they call me and I tease them, I always answer their questions but not with yes. For example, are you between the ages of 2 and 100? Me, I am of age. Them, so can you just say yes? Me, I already answered that and told you I am of age. By the end of this, some of them get so mad they start cussing. Story 74. Put a metal pot over the phone and bang on it with a wooden spoon. It might damage the phone's microphone, but it is worth it. Story 75. I used to pick up spam calls with loud screaming. It was hilarious in our student house. I stopped after answering 2 different recruiters who were potentially offering me a job in this manner. Story 76. It's old but still makes me giggle. Story 77. I never answer calls since half the time no one is there. It is just an automated system calling many numbers to find active phone numbers for later real spam calls. Story 78. My husband and I have the audio clips option on Google phones, and it includes a fart sound effect. It is hilarious to answer with. Story 79. Joe's Pizzeria and Abortion Clinic where yesterday's loss is today's sauce. Story 80. Whatever city or town you reside in, taxidermy service. You pass away, we preserve your pet. Story 81. Do not call unless you have the money you owe me. You owe me 10 million. Also, do not contact me unless the job is done. Bring back the package so I know you completed the job. Story 82. Thank you for calling Pizza Hut. Would you like takeout or delivery? Story 83. I mimicked Rick and Morty in voice messages. They completely ignored me. Story 84. Alas, very few spam calls are made by real people anymore. Most are automated systems. I fear the era of stringing spam callers along is fading fast. Story 85. Place a metal bowl on top of the phone and hit it with a stick. Story 86. I have noticed that no matter what you say to them, they always go straight to jokes about your mother when they realize you are messing with them. It is like that is part of their script. Story 87. Joe's Pizza. What can we get you? Most of the time, they hang up. On a few occasions, they went into their sales pitch. Story 88. Hose are US, you buy them, we supply them. They usually stutter some incoherent nonsense before hanging up. Story 89. Yevgeny's Discount Black Market Organ Service. This is Yevgeny speaking. How may I help you? Story 90. Insert name, S Mortuary and Pizzeria, where yesterday's loss is today's sauce. What can I get started for you? Story 91. I received a spam call from a scammer claiming to be from the power company, trying to offer me solar panels. This is funny because if they were actually from the power company, they would know that I already have solar panels. Story 92. 1. Hello, you are speaking with a sales representative for Pleasure.com. What kind of adult products would you like to order? 2. Federal Bureau of Investigation Telemarketing Fraud Department. How may I help you? Story 93. From Mr. Show. Mr. Pickle's Fun Time Abortion Clinic. We will bring out the kid in you. Story 94. When they call, answer as if you have called to order a pizza. Be angry that they messed up the last order and say you want to talk to the manager this time to make sure they get it right. This confuses them. Story 95. Hello? Yes. We have been trying to reach you regarding an offer on extended warranty for your vehicle. Would you like to discuss our Lord and Savior Al Bundy? Who is this? My name is Detective Smith and you just called a crime scene. We have no witnesses. What were you doing last night between 5 and 6 p.m.? Yes, finally. The voices said you would be calling Master. What is your bidding? Story 96. If I answer, I say, Rockin' 94.3, and you are on the air. Story 97. I answered and loudly sang into the phone, No thanks, says Hazel Bell Hanks. Then I hung up. My children still laugh about this one. Story 98. I say, Larry's Lobster and Chowder House, can I take your order? Story 99. Hello and thank you for calling Pete's Pizzeria and Abortion Clinic where yesterday's loss is today's sauce. How may we serve you? Story 100. This is the best way in my opinion. Story 101. I knew a man who would ask them to hold. If they waited long enough for him to notice, he would answer and ask how much they wanted per shipment of bull semen. Story 102. The favorite that I have heard is, Welcome to Mario's Pizzeria and Abortion Clinic, where yesterday's loss is today's sauce. What can I do for you today? Story 103. Not sure if it has already been said, but you should not answer those calls at all. Once they know you answer calls, the value of your information increases significantly, and they will sell your number to more scammers or spam callers. Story 104. Hello, this is Louise on a recorded line. How may I direct your call? Story 105. Hello, my name is Agent Mitchell. Your call has been automatically forwarded to the Federal Fraud Tracking Hotline. Please stay on the line while we trace this call. It only takes a few seconds. Okay, got it. Now, who am I speaking with? Story 106. My advice is to never answer a spam call in a funny way. The first example is when I received what I thought was a spam call, but it was actually a hiring manager offering me a job. Luckily, he thought my joke was funny. The second time was when I thought I was getting a spam call from overseas, but it was actually one of my clients who had never called me before. Story 107. Joe's Crematorium, you kill them, we grill them. Only engage if you want to keep receiving calls. One time, I tried to sell them cheese, and when they asked what kinds I had, I just started listing cheeses until they hung up. Story 108. Place a pot over the phone and start hitting it. They will never call you again. Story 109. Make them think they called a phone number that is haunted. Story 110. Hello? Yes, I would love to chat, but I am rather busy right now. Please may I take your home or mobile number and call you back at a more convenient time. Story 111. Northern Colorado Sperm Bank. You provide the sample. We freeze it. Story 112. Express great eagerness in whatever they are selling, and then ask how payment can be made. Ideally, they will ask for a credit card number. Then, in a purposeful tone, begin reciting a made-up number and hang up a second later. I once did this from an office where 6 of us shared a common phone, and it was surprising how the person kept calling back and reaching a different individual each time. Story 113. Do not trust what you hear or see. You are speaking with a scam-likely caller. Story 114. Just answer the call, put it on mute, and go about your day. Do not waste your time, only theirs. Story 115. Hey, thanks for finally calling back. I don't know what to do with this body. You said you were going to come up with a plan. They always hang up immediately. Story 116. You are a Libra, aren't you, darling? Story 117. I like to scream until they hang up. It is a great stress reliever. Story 118. I do not answer my phone if I do not recognize the caller. If it is important to them, they can leave a message and I will decide to call back if it is important to me. Story 119. My coworker speaks Japanese and would start a conversation with them until they hung up. It was hilarious to listen to. Story 120. I would tell them that the decision maker died last week. They could not hang up fast enough. Story 121. I've been getting loads of calls lately from my mobile phone provider telling me they can apply a discount to my account. At which point I just say, yup, that sounds good. Do that, please. When they start asking for confirmation of details, I ask why they need that since they already have all my information and don't need anything from me to apply the discount. They go through a script to try to justify it, and at that point, I ask them if their grandparents are proud that their grandchild is a scammer, a common thief. I add that they have brought great shame on their ancestors, and that's usually enough to make them hang up. Once, a young woman started crying when I did the whole shame bit. I'm guessing one of her grandparents had recently died and she was still grieving, just not enough to stop scamming people. A few weeks ago, I got a very polite gentleman who said, "Please leave me alone, sir," before hanging up on me. Story 122. I usually don't answer, but today I was expecting an important call, so they got me. She started by asking if I was Dane, then said, "Well, since I have you on the line, I would like to talk with you about a personal loan to relieve your debt. Is that something you would be interested in?" I replied, "No, I'm not. But I want to know why you are calling me since I have been on the do not call list for years. What you are doing is illegal. I would like your name and number so I can call the police and have you prosecuted." She started apologizing and told me she was in California. I asked her why the number showed up with an area code from my state if she was in California. That indicates she was spoofing her number, and that is illegal. She kept apologizing and said she would remove my name and number from her list. I had her confused, but she never hung up. I gave her plenty to think about and finally ended the call. What fun. Story 123. Thank you for calling 8 Balls Gentlemen's Club. Come on down for our Tuesday 2-for-1 Latina special. This is Cletus speaking. How can I help you? Story 124. A spam text or an actual call? This raises the next question. Are you actually answering calls from numbers you do not recognize? Do you have to because of your job? Story 125. I hold the phone near my mouth and mimic indistinct background conversations occasionally, similar to what you would hear from a call center. They always hang up on me. Story 126. If the person asks for you or a family member by name, tell them that they owe you money and ask if the caller knows how to get in touch with them. You will get dropped like second period French. Story 127. I heard this a long time ago. The best way is to pretend you are really interested in what they are offering, but the line is very bad and you have to ask them to repeat clearly what they say all the time. Story 128. Oh, please wait. There is someone at the door. Then just let them hang. Story 129. I pick up the phone and then stay silent every time. I lead them on as long as possible. Story 130. I just say no picky English in my best Hispanic aunt voice. I have a handful of them. Story 131. Hello and welcome to Pete's Pizzeria, where yesterday's loss is today's sauce. May I take your order, please? Story 132. I use two different approaches nowadays. First, I fully commit to extreme gibberish as if it were another language, making it believable. Second, I use low, subtle moans that sound really creepy. Story 133. My wife answers them in Spanish, then switches to Japanese, then German. If they do not give up by then, she starts asking how much money they want to borrow. Story 134. Laughing my ass off at so many of these. I cannot be the only one who came to this subreddit for creative ways to do this. Story 135. A few months ago, I was doing homework when a phone scammer called me. I said, "Hello, this is McDonald's. How can I take your order?" They hung up instantly. I am surprised they fell for it because my voice is not even deep, and I am 16. Story 136. I had a friend years ago who would answer 911, "What is your emergency?" in a very professional, bored tone. It was effective except for actual recordings. Story 137. I personally do not bother interacting with them. I answer the call, turn the microphone off, and place my phone on the desk to let them talk to themselves. They usually do not call me back. Story 138. When someone gives an obviously fake name, I simply say, "That is not your real name," and they hang up. Story 139. I pretend to be an interested potential customer with a severe speech impediment. Story 140. In my best disc jockey voice, this is insert local radio station call letters. Caller, you are on the air. Story 141. I told you I do not know where the bodies are. Stop calling me. I hung up right after the other person's first word. Story 142. I cannot take credit for this, but something like, "It is done, but there is blood everywhere." Story 143. Hello. Is this about the accident? I did not push her. She fell. Story 144. Welcome to Jerry's Pizzeria and Abortion Clinic, where today's loss is tomorrow's sauce. How can I help you? Story 145. Thank you for calling Mike's Pizza and Abortion Clinic, where yesterday's loss is today's sauce. How can I help you? Story 146. Google has added audio emojis to their Pixel phones. It is fun to play different sounds for spam callers. Story 147. James Veitch is recommended for anyone interested in an enjoyable watch on the topic. Story 148. Thank you for calling the Dirty Drawers Company. We buy soiled undergarments. Are you looking to buy or sell? Story 149. In 3, 2, 1, we are live recording about a scam phone call. Sir, can you please tell us your name? Story 150. My current favorite is to use an exaggerated Indian accent. If they get upset about me mocking their accent, I become more insistent that it is my actual accent. Story 151. I answer in a quiet voice. Okay, it is done, but there is blood everywhere. Come over here and help. Story 152. If I do not recognize the number, I search for it online. 99% of the time, it is a scam, and I am glad I did not answer because I do not want to be on their database of active numbers. Story 153. Play some obnoxious music. Do not say a word. See how fast they hang up. Story 154. I used to have a loud whistle for such things. It has been a while since I have received a call from an actual person. Story 155. Is he dead yet? Hello? Is this Tommy? Wait, who is this? Story 156. Well, I answer every phone call, ahoy hoy, so that surprises them a bit. Story 157. Before Samsung's artificial intelligence. Caller. Sir, I'm calling from blah blah blah. Me. How did you get this number? Caller. Our database or auto dialer? Me. This is a murder investigation and you are calling the victim's number. Caller. Sorry, sir. We are just blah blah blah. Me. Give me your address and come to XYZ police station immediately. That particular spam blocks my number soon after I do this. But now I let artificial intelligence answer the calls for me. Now they mark my number as some other bot. Story 158. This call is being recorded. Anything you say can be taken down and used as evidence against you in a court of law. Story 159. I am somewhat fortunate that most of the unsolicited calls I receive are when I am in the bathroom. This means that I do not actually have to say anything. I just let the background noise do the work for me. Story 160. My grandmother used to answer, City Morgue, you stabbed them, we slabbed them. Story 161. We are sorry. The number you have called has been disconnected. Goodbye. Story 162. Tony's Abortion and Pizza, where your loss is our sauce. We currently have a special, 2 large pepperoni and cheese pizzas for $12.99. Story 163. You are a detective at a crime scene, and this is the deceased's phone. How do they know the deceased? Why are they calling? Where were they last night? Can anyone corroborate that? Story 164. I once heard a woman answer a possible spam call with, Baby Wig Factory. How can we help you? I do not know why, but I still laugh to this day. Story 165. I like to start immediately on a sales pitch for a random product and keep encouraging them to buy it. They usually get upset. Story 166. I got one while using a backpack leaf blower at work. I answered, then kept working. They are extremely loud. Story 167. Make it sound like you are enjoying the sound of their voice. I receive very few calls now. Story 168. I normally answer with Battersea Dogs Home, Jack Russell speaking, or XXXX Crematorium. You kill them, we grill them. Story 169. You have reached Antonio's Pizzeria and Discount Abortion Clinic, where yesterday's loss is today's sauce. What can I do for you? Story 170. In my language, you could say that your name is Vey Bela. The word Vey resembles the word for rectum, but it is separated in half so it looks like a name. Bela is actually a name. Story 171. Oh, thank God you finally called. I put the money in our secured location. Did you manage to pull a couple of teeth from the individual that I requested as proof of receipt? If so, you can forward them to the agreed-upon address. Thank you in advance. Have a good day, agent. Story 172. Okay, the deed is done, but there is blood everywhere. What do you want done with the body? Story 173. Ask for their company and then their name. Then tell them I am on the National Do Not Call Registry and that they are committing an offense that carries jail time. I do not think it is true, but they always hang up instantly anyway. Story 174. You've reached Antonio's Pizzeria and Discount Abortion Clinic, where yesterday's loss is today's sauce. How can I help you? Story 175. Before I got call blocking, I used to receive quite a few Indian Microsoft scam calls. My tactic was to act surprised and ask for their help, pretend I was sitting at my personal computer, and then listen to their instructions while seeming like a total novice. Eventually, they would ask me to look at some file to show the existence of lots of viruses on my computer. I would tell them I had found the file, and they would ask what I could see. I would then say, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. It's a picture of your father harming your mother." After a few seconds of stunned silence, the abuse would start, and I would laugh and hang up with an evil cackle down the phone. A few of them would call back, insulting me, which I took as a compliment. If I kept them busy for 20 to 30 minutes, then it was time well spent. Story 176. In the rare case that an unsolicited call does come through, I hang up as soon as the person starts speaking and block the number. Story 177. Thank you for calling the Federal Bureau of Investigation hotline. Please hold while we trace this call. Story 178. Honestly, anything. Just waste their time. The more time you take from them, the less time they spend spamming others. I'll hit random buttons or play a simple song on the keypad. Sometimes I just shriek into the receiver. Real conversation is a waste of your breath. Be as irritating as possible. Sometimes, if I'm really bored, I'll call them back and do it again. Story 179. Charlie's Chicken Shack. You choke them, we smoke them. Story 180. My uncle used to say, "Welcome to Joe's morgue. You stab them, we slab them." Story 181. I always answer as though I am at the park with my child or taking the dog for a walk. I randomly shout into the phone when they are in the middle of their speech. Story 182. I used to work with children at an after-school program. I would call them and let them answer every unwanted call I received. 9-year-olds are hilarious when you let them say whatever they want. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Story 183. My dad answers in Cherokee. No one has ever been willing to pay for interpretation. Story 184. Nuts and butts. What size pork butt are you looking to get stuffed? We can do walnuts, peanuts, almonds, cashews, Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, pecans, hazelnuts, pine nuts, chestnuts, pili nuts, Portuguese tiger nuts, pink buffalo milk nuts, water nuts, dragonfly nuts, starlight nuts, and moonbeam nuts. What nuts would you like us to fill your butt with? Story 185. I usually hold the phone near the toilet and flush repeatedly until I see the call disconnect. Story 186. United States of America Department of Immigration. How can I direct your call? Story 187. I like to waste their time. I act like I am extremely old, a bit senile and out of touch. I agree with whatever they say but never give any true information. At some point, I have to go get something and just put the phone down until they realize and hang up. Story 188. Comedian Caution does funeral home calls. Go check her out. She's funny. Story 189. Your name's House of Wacky Fish. We are out of halibut today. Story 190. Benito's Mortuary. You stab them, we slab them. Pickup or delivery. Story 191. Pretend to be a spam caller and manipulate them into thinking you called them. Story 192. My husband loves the simple tactic of asking, "Where do you live?" For some reason, every time they freak out and end up cursing him. Story 193. Here are some of my go-to responses for scam callers. Federal Bureau of Investigation Scam Division. How can I help you? I would like to order a large pepperoni pizza. Hold the sauce, please. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ? In robotic voice, you have reached the Democratic Bureau Complaints Department. Your call is very important to us. All our representatives are busy right now. Please hold. Your wait time is 3 hours and 22 minutes. A live representative will be with you shortly. I done it, boss, but what about the body? Those scam guys ought to notice something is up pretty soon. Speak up, please. I lost my glasses yesterday, so I can't quite hear right. I'm afraid that I do not speak any English. Can you speak in American English? Telemarketers Anonymous. May I have your full legal name and social security number? Please? Story 194. Anti-Fraud Department, International Criminal Police Organization. How may I direct your call? Story 195. Wife always answers like a really old lady, saying hello. Story 196. My best friend regularly answers the phone saying, Tina's whorehouse. How can I help you? Story 197. Your local police department fraud department. Officer Bobrovsky speaking. How can I help you? Story 198. Durex Condom Factory, Johnny speaking. City crematory, if you kill him, we grill him. Interrupt them and say, a quantum computer calculating for over 1,000 years could not possibly contemplate the number of cares I do not give. Story 199. Sexual harassment is inappropriate. Do not ask personal or intrusive questions. Please treat everyone with respect and professionalism. Story 200. If there is a very popular movie, respond to any suspicious phone number with a spoiler from the movie. One summer, I responded to every unknown number with the message that the beloved hero dies in the popular franchise installment. Story 201. My favorite moment was when a previous director kept receiving calls from the American Red Cross during our rehearsal. Finally, he answered the phone and shouted, "You don't want my blood. I have acquired immune deficiency syndrome," and threw it across the stage. That only made them call more, but it made the entire cast burst into laughter. He later had to assure them that he did not, in fact, have acquired immune deficiency syndrome. He just wanted them to stop calling. Story 202. 4 years. I answered my cell phone. Raoul's cocaine warehouse. Raoul speaking. May I help you? Story 203. Thank you for calling the cybercrime hotline. What would you like to report? Story 204. If they are already calling me all the time, I just press answer and put the phone away so that they waste a bit of time before hanging up and calling the next number. If everyone did that, their efficiency would be drastically reduced. Story 205. I just accept the call and say nothing but press a few keys to imitate the tap you hear when you get a spam call. They think they have reached another spam operation and hang up. There is no need to speak with them or let them know your number is active. The calls will never stop. Story 206. A funny way to respond to a spam call when they ask where you work is to tell them that you are currently in jail and then ask how they got your number since this is supposed to be a secret phone. Then you can listen to their struggle to answer. Story 207. Saw this TikTok of a girl who answered with, "Welcome to abortion pizza. Whether yesterday's loss is today's sauce. What can I get started for you today? I have been eager to try it." Story 208. Welcome to the funny farm, where it is all jokes and no rain. Story 209. May you come back in your next life as someone with a conscience. Story 210. Hello, this is the X-Residence. If you want to tell me about your product, press 1. Story 211. Hello, thank you for calling. How can I help you? You would be surprised, but this is the most frightening tactic for them. They know that telemarketing in the United States is illegal. That is why they spam call you, put you on hold, then have a second person answer who says, "Thank you for holding." This is done to record the conversation and make it appear as if you called them, so they cannot be sued for calling you. If you say something like, "Thank you for calling. How can I help you?" right away it disrupts their phone call, rendering the recording invalid and unusable. Usually, when you say this, they will immediately hang up. Story 212. For the last time, I will not put a curse on your family member. Not until you pay me for the last one. Story 213. I answered once like this. Oh, thank you so much for calling. No one else cared, but you reached out and it means so much. It is so dark here and cold. I thought it was the end, but you cared enough to reach out. Thank you. It is so cold and so dark. I wonder if there is a way out. And so on for 20 minutes, never giving him a chance to speak. I had fun. Story 214. Major crimes. This call is being recorded and traced. How were you involved with the deceased? Story 215. Hi. I have been waiting for you to call me back. I missed you so much. Here is how my diet is going. I will list everything I have eaten and the calories I consumed for a week, one meal at a time. Story 216. Welcome to the American Center for Sex Reassignment Surgery. Thank you for being our 2000th caller. We will proceed to place you on our list for full coverage surgery. Please tell us your name, and we will complete the process. Story 217. The Big Lebowski subreddit is full of people who respond to text scammers by only replying with quotes from the movie. Hilarious. Story 218. Do you know how to hide a body? Story 219. My brother answers my elderly mother's phone with Calhoun County Sheriff's Department. How may I direct your call? That seems to satisfy most people since they immediately hang up. Story 220. My husband comes up with alternate names for Dogecoin, and the call ends with him attempting to get the spammer to invest. Last time it was pizza points. Story 221. Pretend you work on a telephone support line. When I lived at home and landline calls happened, I would say, because my father told me to, that he had just died. Story 222. Joe's Sewer Service. You dump it, we pump it. How can I help you? Story 223. Special information tones are phone tones that indicate a phone number is not in service. It is also fun to start your voicemail message with that. Story 224. I immediately start screaming as loud as I can, and they usually hang up. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.